In my mid-50s, I flew alone to a foreign country to walk 500 miles. It took 4 airplanes, 2 trains, and 3 buses just to get to the beginning. Why would anybody do this? Well, let's back up a little bit. I want to share part of this journey with you and some lessons I learned, and then share with you how I got to where I am today. I was at the pinnacle of my career. I was working as a civilian for a 4-star general, and I seemed to have it all. I had the house, the car, the coveted job, the nice clothes, the bank account. Everything looked great on the outside, but on the inside, I was miserable. I mean, I did everything people told me to do my whole life, but I always felt like there's something missing, like I don't belong. And I kept feeling like no matter how much I acquired or accomplished, I could never feel quite good enough. Have you ever felt this way? I figured, I must need a vacation. But I didn't want to go on any vacation. I wanted a vacation that had some purpose, something with meaning. So I searched online, vacations with purpose. So I kept searching. And then all of a sudden, I came across something called El Camino de Santiago, and I was immediately intrigued. This is a 500-mile backpack trek across Spain. And I got really excited. This is something that was exciting to me, and it called me. And I'm like, what is this Camino thing? Why am I so excited about it? It turns out it's this long path that people have been walking for over 1,200 years for a variety of reasons, personal, spiritual, lots of things. And it's no easy feat. You walk about 12 miles a day, 13 miles a day, all day long, and every day until you get to the end, which is usually 30 to 35 days. It's physically challenging. It's got ups, downs, it's got gravel, stone, desert, mountains, vineyards, farmlands, and at any moment, it might be a downpour, it might be relentless winds, or some storm might just brew up out of nowhere. And I don't know why, but I was not deterred by that at all. In fact, I was more drawn to it. The more I learned about the Camino, the more determined I was to go. I even picked a date 6 months in the future. I knew I was going. And I wanted to get approval, but I was like, I'm going to go whether I get approval or not, even if it meant quitting my job. This conviction surprised me. Where was this coming from? How is it that I could feel so confident? But I wasn't confident when I was telling my boss. Oh no, she's very intimidating. So each time I see her, I chicken out. I don't say a word. Months go by. And then all of a sudden I realize, oh, I have to tell her because I'm leaving in a few weeks. This is not easy for me. I was worried about whether I could keep my job. I'd taken a deep breath and I walked down the hall to her office door. She waves me in. She points at the chair. She stares at me expectantly. I say, I need to discuss something with you. It's important. She looks at me and cocks her head, raises an eyebrow, just waiting for me to say something. I say, I'm going to need to take some time off. Second eyebrow goes up. She's kind of bored. Now I have to tell her how long I want to take off. And she looks at me and she just locks eyes with me and she says, you're going to be leaving your department shorthanded for 2 major events. Are you sure you want to do that? She goes, you think I should approve this? I don't know what happened, but that absoluteness came up again, and I said, I've already bought my ticket. The silence was deafening. It was like all of a sudden I looked up and I saw this little twitch on the side of her cheek. She said, all right, I'll do it. She signed off on my paperwork. Oh my gosh, I was so excited because I get to go and I get to keep my job. For the next few weeks, I continued to train and buy last-minute items for the trip, and soon it came time. I'm super excited. Now, day 1 of the Camino is the hardest. It is a 17-mile trek with the first 13 going straight up the mountain. I had chose to send my backpack ahead because of the wait. I thought, oh gosh, I'm so smart. I just spent a few dollars and it's going to take it there. But just as it got out of sight, I'm like, oh, I left my water in there. How am I going to do this? I'm like, don't freak out. Just go buy you some water. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You can refill a bottle. So I go get a bottle and I start walking and the first fountain's broken. Oh, keep walking. Second fountain's broken. Oh, keep walking and it's hot and it's about 6 hours later and my body, I can feel it starting to slow down. But miracles seem to happen on the Camino. And all of a sudden, I round a corner and there's these two men there and they've got a water station, just buckets of water there. Drink down about 8 ounces of water. And it was like I felt light in my step. What I didn't realize at that time was that the water that I took in was like a metaphor for how much your life can change when you bring inside of you what you really need. I wish I could tell you more about the next 9 days, but basically they're a blur. I did what I've always done, what other people want me to do. They walked super fast, so I walked super fast. I walked fast because I wanted to fit in, but I don't want to go that fast. But I keep doing it. Do you ever do that? Do things you really don't want to do, but you do them anyway because you want to fit in or you don't want to rock the boat? That was me. So for 9 more days, I walked faster than what was comfortable. On day 10, my leg could not handle it anymore. From the walk, the pace, the weight of the bag, I injured my leg. I had to go to the doctor who said, rest for 2 days. Suddenly, I found myself alone in a foreign land. I didn't speak the language. Other people had gone on. And I was left behind. I was left behind with my thoughts. Did I make the right decision? Should I stay and continue? Should I give up and go home? I don't really know what to do. And then the negative criticism starts coming. Wow, you're such a loser. Can't you do anything right? You don't belong here. You didn't practice enough. You're never going to measure up. What were you thinking? Have you ever had those thoughts in your mind? What was happening to me happens to many of us. It's not about the extreme thing that we're doing or not doing, but about the messages, those horrible, critical messages going on inside of our heads. I'm 2 days into this. And finally, I'm thinking, with my head held in shame, I should probably go back. And as I look up, I see this lady. I think I know her. I think I met her a few days before. It's a fellow pilgrim named Melly, and she's injured too. And I'm hobbling over to her, and she's limping over to me. And when we meet, we just embrace and cry, and we've both been having all these same types of critical thoughts. We sat down at my little sidewalk cafe table, and we shared our pain, both the physical and the emotional. We talked for hours, and we realized, wait a minute, we can walk together. We don't have to go as fast as everybody else. We can take our time. Who's to say we can't? And all of a sudden, our self-judgment was replaced with self-compassion. Now, you guys need to understand, this is a pivotal moment for me. I've always judged myself so harshly. When things weren't going well, I've always felt unworthy, like I don't belong. I felt like I wasn't enough. And to compensate, I'd always do more, try to be more, push harder, try to fit in. I didn't even realize that I was doing these things. The injury was actually a very, very valuable lesson. To pay attention to what's going on with me, notice my thoughts and my feelings. Melly and I walked for 9 more days, and as we walked, we healed, and we made a lifelong connection during that time. And it turned out that going slower is actually better. It was so much more comfortable, and we could stop when we wanted and take pictures and rest. And it was a lesson that I learned for the rest of my life. It's day 20. During a lunch break, a young man says, "Where's your pack?" I said, "Oh, I sent it ahead." He goes, "That's cheating." And I was mortified that he would think that. So I began to do what I would always do and try to justify the reason that I did. And before I could really get into that, a young lady named Anna, who probably isn't even 20 years old, says, "You don't need to explain yourself to him. This is your Camino, and you need to do it however it's best for you." Why did I need him to like me? What made his opinion more important than my own? How much of my life has been spent explaining to other people just because I want to belong? Her words struck a chord in me. So even when I now go to explain myself just a little bit, I go, "Oh, Deb, you don't need to explain yourself. Just be true to you." And when I do that, there's a sense of calm that goes through my body. And I'm peaceful, and it's like I know I'm doing the right thing for me. Before, I was looking for validation, but I no longer need validation from other people. And don't get me wrong, other people's validation is wonderful to receive. But I'm talking about the kind when we need other people to validate us in order to feel accepted or belong. On Camino, messages seem to repeat themselves. And I saw this one message that said, "Real pilgrims don't talk when they walk." And it reminded me of when the guy said, "You're cheating." Someone else took a marker and drew a line through it and said, "Real pilgrims don't tell other pilgrims what to do." And I thought, wow, there's such freedom in that phrase. When we live in expectations of other people, it brings on stress and anxiety, like, am I doing what's right? Where one gives you the opportunity to do what's right for you. Day by day, step by step, lesson by lesson, I felt like my head was clearing, like I was coming out of a fog that I had been living in my whole life. Day 28. It's the end of the day. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. The wind's blowing, so there's dirt and grit all over me. The pack is really heavy at the end of the day, and I just can't wait to get to my destination. Pretty soon, it's the day before walking into Santiago. I'm reflecting on all that's happened, challenges, conversations, the friends I've met, the lessons that I've learned. This journey was more than a physical trek. I had wanted a vacation with purpose, and I learned that connection, belonging, kindness, empathy, compassion, caring, not just with and for other people, but also for myself. So why did I need to fly to another continent and walk 500 miles with virtual strangers to find this out? I'm now home and it's been 5 days. Joy has been replaced with melancholy. Peace and calm have been replaced with stress and anxiety. Freedom is now frustration. But my goal on going on this vacation was a huge success. I found everything I was looking for and more. So why have I been crying for 5 days? I had learned how to value myself, how to be true to myself. I fit in. I belonged. Inside of me was peaceful and joyful. I felt fulfilled, happy, light. I wanted more of this. But how do I get it? How do I leave the security of this financially lucrative position for the unknown? And I realize, oh my God, I gotta go back to work tomorrow. My alarm goes off. I drag myself out of bed. I'm dreading returning to the stress and frustration. But before I get to my desk, I stop at my boss's office just to let her know I've returned. She waves me in, points at the chair to sit, and she says, well, I go to open my mouth, but nothing came out. And the beauty of this journey just flashed before my eyes, and tears are rolling down my cheeks. And she says, good, I was hoping this would happen. And with that, she jumps out of her chair, she runs around her desk, and she comes over and she gives me this big bear hug. I was stunned. I have never seen not just this side of her, but anything like this at all. What peeked out from behind the facade was the real human being. And then, almost as if she was terrified that happened, she retreated back behind the mask. Her retreat back made me realize I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm falling back into a place of a situation, a mentality, a place where I don't want to be. Genuine, joyful, fulfilled, all those feelings left me. There was a heaviness of doing and being what did not feel right. I knew what I needed to do. I needed to leave. So I quit my job, sold everything I owned, and I drove away. And immediately, the joy was back. I learned so much on Camino, lesson after lesson, pointing in various ways of the importance of being true to yourself. And being true to yourself brings greater joy. Acquiescing to other people brings frustration, upset, and separation. Do you ever find yourself acting in ways other than being really you? Perhaps trying to fit in or belong? Do you find yourself making your most important decisions based on what you think other people expect of you? Are you really living true to yourself? If you're seeing, like I did, that you're not being true to yourself, I'd like to invite you into the self-discovery circle. It is a safe haven where every woman's journey is honored and appreciated. Being able to be true to you, where there is joy, freedom, and peace, and you can discover all of this without even having to walk 500 miles or quit your job. Here's what I know. When I am true to myself, I just am so happy and joyful, and I just live in a different place. It's like I enjoy my life. It's fulfilling. When I try to do what other people want me to do, I just get so tense and stressed out, and I don't want that. And if you don't want that either, then let's go on a journey together, and you can discover what makes you happy. And that way you will learn how to be true to you.